Tuna shouted to everyone. A scream echoed through the quiet, shattered night. Her heart was breaking, and her hands trembled as she cried out in panic. Henry was facing danger, and every passing second felt like a knife cutting into her last hope. Would Alex be able to arrive in time to save the child before it was too late? In the murky darkness, the figure of the former mother-in-law silently appeared, her eyes sharp as a blade. No longer hiding her hatred, everything had turned into a vicious plan. With a sinister smile, she quietly kidnapped Henry, intending to use the pain to force Tuna to submit like a puppet on a string. The air was suffocating tense, as if everything was collapsing with each heartbeat ringing like a bell, signaling an inevitable dark end. The relationship between love, loyalty, and courage was being tested. Would Tuna fight to the end to protect Henry, or would the cruelty of the former mother-in-law take it all? Everything was at stake in a game where life itself was just a pawn in this deadly game. The night fell, casting a heavy silence over the farm, broken only by Tuna's hurried footsteps. Her eyes were red, but the pain in her heart wouldn't subside. She clutched Henry's stuffed animal tightly, as if this toy could protect the child from all the haunting fears, but nothing could ease the terror that surrounded her. The boy was in the grip of danger, and the dark past had returned to threaten their happiness. In the shadows, a haunting image appeared, Tuna's former mother-in-law. Her gaze was cold, full of hatred and cruelty. She held a gun, a symbol of years of accumulated resentment, now turned into a weapon for a wicked plan to kidnap Henry and use the pain to tear apart Alex's family. "Please don't hurt my son," Tuna pleaded, her voice hoarse with desperation, kneeling on the ground. Every second felt like a punch to her heart, a fear too unbearable to withstand. Suddenly, the sound of a car rushing toward them shattered the silence. Alex appeared, stepping out of the darkness with burning determination, his eyes blazing with fury. He hadn't stopped, driven by one purpose: to arrive before it was too late. "Let go of the boy now," Alex shouted, his voice deep and commanding. Tuna's former mother-in-law lifted Henry in her arms, her eyes full of hatred, ready to do anything for revenge. The unavoidable battle had arrived, and it would decide the fate of their family. Each breath Tuna took felt like it was being choked in her throat as she watched her innocent son in the hands of the enemy. The boy didn't understand the battle around him, only sensing the chill in the air. Alex moved closer, arms outstretched, trying to remain calm, though his heart pounded as if it might explode. "You don't have to do this," Alex said in a low, firm voice. "He has nothing to do with all your pain." Tuna's former mother-in-law laughed, a cold, threatening laugh that froze the air. "Do you think you can still negotiate with me? Alex, Tuna's pain will be my victory, and your helplessness will be the revenge I deserve." At that moment, Tuna rushed forward, standing between Henry and her mother-in-law, raising her arms like a living shield. "If you want to kill someone, then kill me, but leave my son alone," she screamed, her voice filled with the determination of a mother protecting her child. The gun in her former mother-in-law's hand trembled, the tension in the air so thick that one wrong move could lead to death. The scene stood between love, hatred, and courage, all brimming with the threat of an explosion. But the most important question remained: who would win this battle? The protection of a mother, or the cold vengeance of a woman consumed by obsession? everything hinged on a single decisive moment. Taking advantage of her former mother-in-law's distraction, Alex rushed forward swift as lightning. A precise punch, and the gun was ripped from her hands, followed by a deafening bang that echoed through the night. Henry suddenly began to cry, his sobs tearing apart the stillness. Tuna hurriedly grabbed her son, holding him tight, as if to merge her body with his to protect him. Alex dropped to his knees, gripping his former mother-in-law's wrist with fury and pain in his eyes. "Enough," he growled. "Your hatred will not destroy my family any longer. This ends now." Tuna's former mother-in-law released her grip, the gun falling to the ground like the final mark of her cruel plans. Her eyes were filled with defeat, the hatred now a scar that would never fade. Tuna looked up, tears in her eyes, meeting Alex's gaze. In that moment, she realized that no matter how the darkness of the past tried to take everything from them, love and courage were still the strongest weapons to protect their family. Even though the night was still dark, a strong belief rose within Tuna. They had overcome the greatest challenge, and nothing could tear them apart. However, that peace would not last long. Despite being protected, Henry was still haunted by nightmares of the gunshot. During long nights, the boy would scream in his sleep, his eyes filled with fear as he saw the darkness closing in. The family tried to create a safe environment, but the wounds in his soul were far from healed. Meanwhile, Tuna's former mother-in-law, though physically defeated, had turned into a silent monster. She wouldn't let go, and from the cold silence of her home, another plot began to form. She sought out shady lawyers, those willing to sell their conscience for money. Together, they fabricated false charges against Tuna, calling her an unfit and dangerous mother to Henry. She spread rumors that Tuna only lived for Alex's benefit, and that the boy was living in constant danger, being cornered by the game of power. When the news reached Tuna, a numbness overtook her. She collapsed tears, falling silently, unable to hold back the pain. "How can she hate me this much?" she asked, her voice choked. "Why can't she understand that I just want to protect my son?" Alex stood by her, his eyes like steel, unwavering. He knelt down, pulling Tuna into his arms, not allowing her to fall any further. "We're not going to let her win," he said, his voice deep and certain. "She can use the law, she can fabricate lies, but she can never change the truth about us. We'll fight until the end." Tuna felt a glimmer of hope stir within her, even though the road ahead would be full of challenges. The darkness might attack them, but their love and bond would be the light guiding them. Everything was far from over, and the battle to protect their family had only just begun. Alex's father, who had previously kept his distance, suddenly decided to step in. His eyes were filled with determination, but his voice was calm and serious. "I will make sure she never steps into Henry's life again. If I had any disagreements with Tuna before I admit I was wrong, no one can judge a mother willing to sacrifice her life for her child." His words were a comforting balm, lightening Tuna's heart. For the first time, she felt that Alex's family not only accepted her, but saw her as a brave mother ready to do anything to protect her child. However, the battle was far from over. The shadow of the trial loomed closer, and in Tuna's mind, one question kept circling. Would her and Alex's love and unity be strong enough to overcome the lies, or would the darkness of hatred once again tear their family apart? The day of the trial came, and the dark sky seemed to reflect their anxiety. The dim light created a suffocating atmosphere in the courtroom. Every movement of Tuna felt under scrutiny, and every sound in the room was like a knife cutting into her heart. Henry had been sent to a trusted nanny to keep him away from the tension that filled the air, and then Tuna's former mother-in-law appeared. She entered the courtroom, her face feigning sadness like a grieving mother, but in her eyes there was the gleam of calculation and hatred. She wasn't just a woman hurt by the past. She was the one pulling the strings, ready to do whatever it took to bring Tuna down. She began presenting documents and witnesses in an attempt to destroy Tuna's image. Each of her words was like a sharp blade relentlessly attacking. "My grandchild is in danger under this woman's care." She declared, her voice dripping with fake grief. "She's only using Alex's wealth. She isn't capable of being a mother to Henry. The child won't be safe if he continues living under her control." Each of her statements didn't just attack Tuna's character. It was a deadly blow, aimed at destroying the bonds within this family. From her accusations, the truth was twisted, and the darkness of hatred once again threatened their unity. Could Alex and Tuna stand firm against this storm of lies, or would this time it be hatred that would finally drive them apart?
Xin chào mọi người, khoảnh khắc định mệnh đã đến. Alex đã mang cho mình tin mời và một cặp nhẫn của những ngôi nhà của Tuna. Câu hỏi thứ nhất: em có đồng ý làm vợ hay không? Xin được ra người phụ nữ đã từng trải qua bao nhiêu nỗi đau quá khứ, có đủ dũng khí để mở lòng thêm một lần nữa, có chấp nhận tình yêu mà Alex đã dành cho từ ngày đầu tiên mà cùng Alex với lên một chương mới và đầy hy vọng của bé đi. Câu trả lời phía trước chắc chắn sẽ khiến mọi người nhận thấy quyết định có thể thay đổi số phận của cả ba. Cùng Alex hôm đi xuống, ánh nắng cuối ngày chảy dài như dải lụa vàng các con đường nhỏ dẫn đến căn nhà gỗ giản dị của Tuna. Khung cảnh bình yên như một lời chúc thầm lặng của đất trời báo hiệu cho giây phút quan trọng nhất của đời. Đôi bước chân tôi nặng trĩu, nó run rẩy, tim đập rồn rập như một vỡ tung lồng ngực. Trong đầu tôi hình dung khoảnh khắc mình quỳ xuống, đôi bàn tay run run chiếc hộp nhỏ chứa cặp nhẫn biểu tượng trong một lời hứa vĩnh hằng. Tôi sẽ thực hành chính mình rồi đặt ra thành lời: Tuna, từ ngày đầu tiên gặp em, trong tim anh đã thuộc về em có đồng ý để chắc anh chăm sóc và yêu thương em đến hết cuộc đời này không? Khi đứng trước cánh cửa gỗ ấy, ký ức như một dòng đang mùa về, tôi thấy